Hello, everyone. I'm so excited this evening. We're here with JP Forno. He's the CEO of METEOR, and they actually scale with top remote talent. So I was wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about your background and what you do, JP.
Sure. Caroline, thank you for having me here. So as you mentioned, I am the CEO of a company called Meteor. Essentially, what we do is we help businesses hire remote talent from Latin America. Our idea is obviously to help people save a little bit of money when it comes to labor costs, but not have to compromise on quality when they're hiring people. And we specialize in a particular role that is a virtual assistant type of position. My background, I have over 7 years of experience building international teams. The beginning of my trajectory was more on the business process outsourcing company. So we worked with big organizations and in the United States. And 3 years ago, I started this company, and focusing more on small to medium companies, but still all with the focus of building high performing teams for our companies that we work
Oh,
with.
thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome. And I was wondering if you can tell us a little bit about the values and the mission of Meteor.
Yeah, so I think I could tell you a little bit more about why I started the company. For me, there's really like a couple of reasons. I was born and raised in Guatemala, and I've always had an interest of, building up, the economy and the country in a way. I've always had an ambition for my country that's greater than what it is right now. And so part of the motivation of starting this company is to provide high quality job opportunities for fellow countrymen, so to speak. At the same time, I felt like I was denied opportunities because I was born from this country. I went to school in the United States, but after my student visa expired, I had to come back, even though I was very qualified for some of the jobs that were available in the States. So our mission really boils down to connecting good people with good companies, regardless of where they live. Right now, obviously, that scope is only limited to Guatemala. We're hopefully going to expand to other countries in Latin America soon. But that's a little bit of what we stand for is making sure that we're getting good people the opportunities that they deserve.
Very honorable. Thank you. Now we'd like to hear about the special product you offer. I think one of the things that would be great to know is what type of work do you offer?
Right. So, like I mentioned, we specifically work with a particular role called a virtual assistant, and so that is in the industry. It's kind of like an all-encompassing type of role, where you might have a virtual assistant help an operations department, or a human resources department, or a sales department, or customer success. An assistant, really what they do, or who they are at their core, is an executor. So somebody that can carry out tasks that are essential for a particular function in the business. One of the ones that we focus the most on is a virtual executive assistant. An executive assistant is like a right-hand person to, the CEO of a company. And mainly their job is to help them buy back their time so that they can focus on the key things that drive the business. I'm sure that, in your experience, you've seen business owners often have this struggle of getting their businesses to grow. It's almost like they're staying afloat, or they hit these plateaus because every business owner is constrained by the same 24 hours. So it's more about what you do in those 24 hours that really dictates where your business is going to go. So if you bring an executive assistant that can clear your plate from all the ankle biter tasks so you can have more capacity for the main things, then you get to actually get some breakthroughs in your organization, without losing sight of the little things that still need to get done in your business. So we have found virtual assistants in many different configurations. People that can do administrative work, operational work, HR work, social media content publishing, content creation, financial support. We even have people that help construction companies build renders and construction drafts. So I think that my focus is more on learning about the companies. What are the tasks that are taking from the focus?
Mhm.
And can we find someone that's really prepared and really proficient at these tasks so that you can focus on the key things in your company?
Sounds great. Do you have a story that you can tell us, without naming any names of clients, of course, that can show the listeners the value of the services you offer?
Sure. I mean, one that comes to mind is we one of our favorite clients is a roofing company out of San Diego, and I met the business owner at an event in Vegas, and he told me about this roofing company that has been a generational business. I think they've been open since the 1960s. And he was interested initially on some sales talent. But the more that we had a conversation, we realized that he could use somebody to be his executive assistant, basically someone that can do calendar management and inbox management. A lot of us business owners spend a quarter or maybe like even 15% of our time just on our inboxes. So as the company grew, the business owner realized that he needed to delegate these operational tasks and focus more on strategy and leadership. So he decided to hire an executive assistant with us. And so we ran an entire campaign that was able to, and we were like designing skills assessments that were going to showcase what the candidates could actually do, not what they say they can do in a resume. So I think we ended up having like 400 applicants, out of which we filtered it down to the top 5. He decided to interview 2, and finally he hired his executive assistant. And I think that it's almost like between 15 to 20 hours off his week that have been saved, which freed up. Imagine like what you can do with 20 more hours a week. It's a lot of focus. It's like half of the year. It's 1,000 hours a year that he can focus on really building the foundation of the company, right? So she came in, took over the inbox, the calendar, a few of the task flow, and it's also like reducing that daily operation or decision fatigue, right? I don't know if you've heard of this, but I think everybody of us wakes up with a full battery of willpower, and every decision that we have to make, from like what do we wear, what route do we take to work, to like, do we need to hire someone, or how do we like not lose this client, like all those things are taxing. So beyond the 20 hours, I think he was also able to save a lot of like mental capacity, so that the decisions that he does have to make are made with a little bit more of like willpower reserves, if you will. And so I tell people all the time, you have to be very mindful of what your hour rate looks like. And for anybody who's listening, this is a really easy exercise. You can take last year's income and divide it by 2,000, which is roughly a 40-hour work week. That is your hourly rate. And so if you're doing, let's say that I earn $100,000 a year, divide that by 2,000, that's $50 an hour. So if I'm earning $50,000, or sorry, $50 an hour, and I'm doing $10 an hour tasks, that means that I'm losing $40 every time that I'm doing that task, right? And so if I can find someone that I can get for like, again, like $15, $20, let's say I get a virtual assistant that is $15 an hour, that means that I'm saving $35 each time I don't have to do that task. And if that person relieved me of like 20 hours a week, that's almost $40,000 in savings a year for hiring one role. So I can't remember the last time I made a decision in my business that saved me 40K. And also the 20 hours I get back from my day, or for my week to execute on things. And so that's a little bit of the story, right? And then we see it all the time. It's one of like the lowest cost, highest ROI role that you can have in your company. And for the assistant side, they're having an opportunity to grow alongside with an owner. So for them, they're not a number in a big corporation. They're actually like this, like the person that has the most exposure for growth, because they work with the main executive of the company. So it's a very win-win scenario when somebody gets time back and somebody else gets a career opportunity that's great for them.
Yes, I love it. And That's such a great example of an exercise to do, and that's the power of delegation, really. Um,
Mhm.
wow. Well, would you be able to share with us some trends that you're seeing in your industry?
Right. So people right now can't speak about trends without mentioning artificial intelligence. So that's
Oh yeah.
something that's very like present and top of mind. It's like any inflection point that we've had as a humanity, but there's also like a big frenzy around artificial intelligence. I think it's almost like every time we open LinkedIn, everybody has a new tool, a new framework, a new automation. And if you're, not living under a rock, that's certainly something that you have to pay attention to. And so I think that automation, artificial intelligence, those are going to be, the norm of businesses going forward. And I think that those trends really pair well with executives and virtual assistants. So if you have somebody in your organization like a virtual assistant who's trained on these sort of technologies and can be like these modern toolsmiths, so to speak, they can help introduce artificial intelligence in your business and can introduce it at a very key stage in the company because they're going to be boots on the ground. Remember, these roles are executors. And so if the executors have the capabilities to wield artificial intelligence tools, that means that your organization is benefiting from the ground up. So that's a trend that we've been seeing, pairing virtual assistants who are trained on automation or trained on virtual or on artificial intelligence or automation, or pairing virtual assistants with automation companies. So an automation company can diagnose like, hey, you're having a lot of inefficiencies here. You should automate this step and have the things that are human about this process executed by a VA. So I'm seeing a lot of those types of trends when it comes to virtual assistant. In our industry in particular, a trend is to be more focused on a particular niche. So there's companies that do virtual assistant for physical therapy specific or for not even home services, but like specific home services like HVAC or roofing or pest control. So we haven't like niched down just yet. I think that that's an exercise that we're thinking about. I like healthcare. I like home services. I like property management. Um, I love business in general, so it's kind of hard for me because like one of the things that I enjoy the most about what I do is I get to learn a lot about businesses all throughout. Yesterday, I was at a dinner with a client of ours who managed services provider for cybersecurity, telco, and AI. Right, like you get to learn a lot about different businesses, but yeah, so the two trends that are top of mind right now is niching and also the implementation of AI and automation in workflows.
Brilliant. Do you have some VAs in your pool that are trained in AI?
Well, we have some people that have like most people that are in the talent pool have used artificial intelligence in some way, shape, or form. A lot of the skills that we've seen have to do with prompt engineering. Um, but I think that more of what we're finding out right now is that I am much more interested in the capability of learning these tools than I am like what they already know. Because what they already know right now is going to be obsolete in the next 6 months because these things are going so fast. So our skills assessment, which is something that we can talk about, is like how we make sure that we find the right fits. But our skills assessments are designed to weed out the people who don't have tech savviness or this gene of like problem solving. So I'll give you an example. Everybody that we've had 13,000 people apply to our positions, out of which we probably have a talent pool of 40 to 60 people who we hand selected. So like less than 0.5%. Now, one of the exercises that we have them do is to create an entire automated workflow around a lead magnet. So we tell them like, okay, pretend that you're working for a gym and this gym needs to get more leads. Now, in order to get more leads, we need to get more emails and phone numbers. So help us create a lead magnet, a free resource that we can give out. And in order for them to get this free resource, they have to leave us their contact information so that we can offer them a free week at the gym. So that's like the premise of the exercise. So here's what they have to do. They have to create a PDF with 10 recipes of high protein, low calorie meals very neatly designed, beautiful looking, something that would look like something that you would sell for. They then have to create an Instagram post promoting the lead magnet. They then have to create a Google form where people would click to get access to the lead magnet, and they had to leave their contact information, name, phone number, email, and where they live or what are their fitness goals, whatever. And then finally, they have to create a Zapier automation where as soon as the Google form hits, the Zapier automation will send the email based on HTML text, and they will have the capabilities to download the lead magnet. And in the email copy, there will be the CTA. It's like, hey, hope you enjoyed this list of high protein meals. If you want to work on your fitness goals, check out the Hub Fitness Center at XYZ Street, and you please enjoy 1 week free of the gym. So they have to do all that stuff. And in addition to that, they have to record a Loom video of them walking us through how their automation works, how they set it up in Zapier. And finally, they also have to share with us their ChatGPT thread. We know that they're going to be using ChatGPT. I just want to see how they prompted the tool, how they use it to create the automation in Zapier, how they use it to create the HTML text so that the email looks nice. And you find out very quickly who can use AI to solve those problems. Most of them never did a Zapier automation before. But if you go to ChatGPT, that's a two-step automation. It's probably one of the simplest automations that you can ever make, which is form completion to output. But we can see who used their tools the right way, who prompted the AI the right way, who gave feedback the right way. And so that's what we like to do. We like to create these assessments. So now, out of all the candidates who apply, I get a chance to see which ones have those skill sets, who eventually are going to be able to navigate any changes that might come from like an automation or AI standpoint.
Yeah, great. Wow. Well, that's very impressive, JP. It's very rigorous
Thank
the
you.
way you do your testing. Wow. Um, how does this trend, AI, I'm guessing, because that's what you mainly talked about, impact your growth strategy? Because for your business, because you have to have this pool of people, and obviously the evaluation of it is a factor, but are there any other factors?
Well, we don't use it that much for evaluation because right now I don't think that we know how to wield the tool as well to do this kind of stuff. So imagine the exercise that I just walked you through. I can't really submit a Loom video, a ChatGPT thread, two posts, and a PDF to an AI and say, hey, grade this based on this criteria. I don't think it's there just yet, so you still need judgment. And one of the things that I think humans still get to keep while they're using AI is judgment, because you're directing the tool. So you can like micro use it for like vet candidates, but it's really limited in what it can do. For example, what it could do is, let's say I have a very standardized way that I interview people, and let's say I interview 5 people. I can go to a GPT or Claude or Perplexity or whatever and say like, hey, here's my job description, and here's what I'm looking for in this role. Here are the 5 interview transcripts. Which ones, and the CVs associated with these interview transcripts. Which candidate do you think has more of the elements that we're looking for in this role? And it could sort of give me its assessment, right? Because it's text-based. But you have to be very careful because remember that whatever is in an interview is what the candidate said, not what the candidate can actually do. So what the AI is going to do is the tool is going to take that transcript as gospel. So if the candidate said like, oh yeah, I used to sell $2 million worth of real estate in a year, whenever the tool is analyzing, it would say, oh, candidate A is good at the sales role because he was able to sell 2 million, when you don't really know if that's true or not, right?
True.
And so that is why it's a little bit different. We use AI to do a semi-automated process for recruiting, but I don't think it is at a point where it can be solely AI. And there's a lot of tools that claim that they can do it, and they're making a lot of shortcuts. And so that's why it will still feel like a coin toss if you do your assessment of candidates in that way, I think.
Yes, definitely. I see what you're saying. Where do you see Meteor in 6 months to a year from now, JP?
Well, hopefully we can double the amount of people that we've given jobs to, or the companies that we've been able to help. Right now, I always think about like the business in terms of capacity, right? So like if tomorrow we've got somebody that wants 100 VAs, would we be able to fulfill on that promise? And right now, I don't think we're at that point just yet, right? So like my job is to, at the same time that I'm trying to bring business through the door, I'm also making sure that when more business volume comes in, that we're able to serve them with excellence. So creating a customer success department, making sure that we make it so that when somebody hires a VA, they have a 30, 60, 90-day plan with us, they feel supported, they have resources. And so part of my time goes on building the infrastructure that's going to support the scale that we have ambitions for. And part of it is also developing a lot of content, developing a lot of free tools, developing a lot of different types of collateral, doing sales efforts to bring more people into our world so that we can serve them. So for me, my headspace is built or is based on both of those priorities. And so hopefully in the next 6 to 12 months, we are able to see a double in growth, if not more.
Very awesome. That's a great plan, JP. Um, well, thank you so much for being here. In closing, I was wondering if you have anything to add for the listeners.
Yeah, well, I would just say, I mean, like, I love building teams, and I think that if some of your listeners are business owners, or even if they're just building teams for their own organizations, I don't know why people start the businesses that they start. Like some people just want freedom, a better security for their kids, or they just want to wake up feeling passionate about what they're doing, or not have a boss, or not have to respond to anybody, whatever that is. You probably need your business to be of a certain size, right? It's kind of like that old adage that I don't know, an apple tree won't fill a village, but an orchard might, right? So I think that in order for people to grow their businesses, they need to grow their teams and they need to have high performing teams. But a lot of people don't know how to recruit, hire, train, manage people. So we've built a lot of tools that help people on the recruiting side, on the training side, and these are the same tools that we use to grow teams for others. So if any of your audience is interested in learning more or having access to these tools, you can tell them to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is jp.forno, and just say like tools or Carolyn. And I'm happy to share any resources that we've used to grow high performing teams for others.
Thank you so much. It was an honor having you here. I actually usually add something at the end for the listeners in order to reach you if they need to reach you. You mentioned Instagram, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the best place to reach JP. His handle is jp.forno. So if you want to reach him there. And thank you so much again for being here, JP. It was great to learn about this and about the power of delegating, basically, because the amount of time that you can get from doing that, right? So thank
Yeah.
you again.
No, thanks for having me here. And as a parting thought, right? Like you just said, delegation is your business will grow to the extent that you're willing to let go.
Yes.
So it is a skill. Some people are better at it, but it's something that you can learn. So highly recommend for people who are listening. So, but yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show and spending some time with me to talk about this stuff.
Well, thank you so much for your words of wisdom. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, you too.